Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Volume is slow. Is it? No, my volume is at max. You guys are um, very low. Well, the person who spoke has his volume very low. Giorgio, good morning. All right. As usual, we're going to give people a bit of time to join us. So, yeah, feel free to carry on a conversation um, amongst yourselves. Or if you have any questions to ask me, you can feel free to ask me.
Actually,
Um,
I have one.
yeah, sure. Go ahead.
What do we need to do to prepare for the
Hey,
midterm?
Daniel, I can't hear you at all. What is is your microphone far away or something?
My microphone is right next to me. I just moved up the spit filter. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, much better. Can everybody hear him?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Well, at least one other person can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah,
So, what do we need to do to prepare for the midterms again?
yeah. Well, can you just hang on to that question and ask it again after, closer to the middle or end of the class?
Okay.
Yeah, because more people will be there, and I'm sure I'm going to have to answer this question like a zillion times before next week. So might as well wait to cover as many people as possible. And in the meanwhile, if you guys have got any programs that you'd like to demonstrate today, only using the concepts we've covered so far, okay? The functions and parameter passing and so on. Don't bring any new conceptual ideas or new features of the language into your demo at this point. Everything will have a chance to be displayed, I think, but in each one, it's in its own good time. And yeah, let's just keep all the demos as simple as possible. The other reason for keeping the demo simple is because it'll let us experiment more. You can tweak things and see the effect immediately. And so if you have a large program and you tweak small things, you can't really see the effect, in a focused way. So we'll do that. And ideally, yeah, I want, yeah, we've only got 15 people, but, if judging from what happened in the last few classes, by the time we're like 20 or 30 minutes into the class, um, the list of students, the people who attend, just almost doubles. So sometimes more than doubles. So yeah, let's give them some time. But I would like someone who's not been here so far to come and demo their code. One thing that you guys can do, I'm assuming that most of the people who come here and who volunteer frequently are already here at this point. You're waiting for the alarm to sound so you can get back into my CS2A class and do some demos. You're just waiting for it. But here's an idea that you guys can think about. Can you just reach out? Can you guys see the list of students? Can you see the list of your classmates anywhere at all, or is that all confidential and only I can see it right now? Do you know who's enrolled in your class other than yourself? Oh, you can see it in participants. Oh, but only participants, not in Canvas?
I can see on Pronto.
Okay, so you have the list of participants, and you probably know who amongst those people have volunteered to be on stage so far. I'd like you, if possible, you guys, to reach out to someone in that list of students who hasn't had a chance to come up here and demo, and basically convince one, each person one. So if everybody manages to convince one person to demo, that we've basically doubled our pool of students who want to demo, right? So just try and find before next class one student who would be happy to to let you demo their code while they are with you. So meaning that you're going to basically chaperone them through the demo, and it'll be a joint demo between you, an experienced demonstrator, and that other student who has never done this before. And they're going to do it, but you can convince them somehow offline, talk to them offline and say that, well, I can do as much of the demo for you as possible. I can start off if you want, and, and give you and you can take the opportunities to chime in when you have something to say. Otherwise, and so on. Just make them feel comfortable. And I'd like for them to just be on stage, even if they're not performing. I'd like to be them on stage with you, one person each. And I think that will go a long way towards making it easier for the other students to showcase their code. And besides, this is showcasing your code in class is one of the best possible ways I can think of for you to get participation points if you don't happen to participate in the forums, right? And I know there's a whole bunch of students in class in the participants list whose names I never see in Reddit or the discussion forums. And that basically means that the maximum these students are shooting for is a B+, because, you look at the syllabus and you can see it's very clearly laid out that if you get 0 participation points, then you top out at, what is it, something like 85%? Yeah, 85%, which is not enough for a B, right? Is not enough for an A minus even, right? So, what's the point? What's the point of doing a course if you're shooting for a B+, right? You got to shoot for the stars, then you have a good chance of hitting the moon, right? But if you shoot for the moon, you'll probably just end up on a cloud. So yeah, convince them and try and tell them that here is a great way for you to get participation points. Even if you don't participate in the forums, here's a great way for you to earn participation points, right? Because if I don't see a student in the forums and also never remember them having been on stage here, when it comes time to hand out participation points, effectively, I don't have any basis for giving them points, right? I mean, I can't even manufacture an excuse to give them points. They would all end up with 0 participating points, which means that their score is out of 85, not out of 100. Yeah, so after class today, please take some time to go ahead and you can't see your participation points because, yeah, Giorgio, nobody can see their participation points and you will never ever know how much you got, right? Which means that until you see your final grade in my portal, you're going to be in suspense. Okay, so, and also, and I think that nobody should try to ace this course. What does acing the course mean, right? Does acing the course mean getting an A? That's total nonsense. That's not acing the course in my book, right? Because I know there are a lot of students I've had in the past quarters, not this quarter, in the past quarters, not even the past recent quarters, past quarters, who aced the course, right? So basically, they all got A pluses. But I know, I look at them and I look at their participation. I look at, the code they've submitted in assignments. I know none of them is really A grade material, right? I mean, if I were to judge, evaluate them properly, or if I gave it to someone to anonymously evaluate their expertise in C++, they would probably end up with a C+ or B at most, right? And they got an A+. How can I justify that to me? Or even to a college recommendations person who wants to know, right? So I'm not a college admissions officer, right? So who wants to know, this person got an A+, right? And are they a good candidate for majoring in programming in this institution? I don't have any grounds for saying that. So getting an A is not acing the class. And getting an A is basically saying that, well, before I enrolled in this class, I had a brilliant idea for doing something in C++, but I didn't have the expertise to do it. So I went and enrolled in this class to pick up the skills. Yeah, understanding everything. Yes, thank you, Chan. right? So I picked up the skills, and using those skills, I was able to make the thing that I had in my mind. That is acing your class. And anyone who says I'm here for a grade, I can guarantee that already at this point, you're not getting it. I mean, if you're focused on your grade, you're not getting it. And yeah, it is one of the, and I don't think it's a property of my class, really. You know, I honestly think at this point, unless I'm disabused of this notion, that that kind of applies in life also, right? If you know, if you are dead set on getting something, then you don't really, you've given up a little bit of the enjoyment you're going to get out of it, right? Because, you know, think of it this way. Here's a good analogy. If you think you're going to, if you think you're embarking on an effort to make $1 million, right? And you say, I'm not going to sleep. I'm going to make my $1 million. Until then, I'm, you know, single-mindedly focused on this, right? And that means you've set a goal, which is also, you know, a pathetic goal. It's just $1 million, right? So you've set a goal, which is a low goal. And the fact of the matter is that because now you've set an expectation to yourself, the only thing you can have is, until you hit the expectation, suppose you made $900,000, not $1 million, right? But you're just going to be disappointed that you didn't make $1 million because that was your goal. So when you have this expectation that that's what I need, or if you have a sense of entitlement, right? If you have a sense of entitlement, oh, my dad is going to buy me an iPad, and I'm going to get an iPad tomorrow. There, at that point, you've lost the pleasure of the iPad. You know, not the full pleasure, but not right. You've lost the majority of it, because now, until you get the iPad, all you can possibly get is a disappointment. Right? If you don't get the iPad, you get it. You are disappointed. So if you don't make $1 million, you're disappointed. You're not happy. So, you know, how do you be happy? How do you get happy with what you get? To be happy is just let go of the expectation and say, well, I'm doing this because it made me happy to do this. It's fun. Yeah, you enjoy it. So I've already got the enjoyment out of the learning. So anything else I get out of it is basically icing on the cake, right? So that is a much better way to enjoy life, because you're just doing everything for doing it. And when you're done with it, you've got what you got from it. You're not expecting more. So anytime you have this expectation that, you know, I have to do that, and so I have to win that battle, then if you don't win the battle, you're going to be terribly disappointed. And so why set yourself up for a disappointment when you can actually get more out of life by just enjoying riding the wave? You know, ride the wave. Don't go through the wave. Yeah. All right. So yeah. Grade should not be the end goal. Exactly. Thank you so much. Preach. Okay. Sorry. I won't preach. All right. Thank you. Oh, I see. You're saying that's a good preach. Okay. All right. Preach always has this connotation, you know, a negative connotation. All right, so I don't know how long we should wait. Oh, well, it's still 8:14. All right, so let's give them until 8:15, okay? 8:15. Well, let's start at 8:15. So 1 more minute. And well, we have people who've joined. You know, 25% more students have joined class. And after that, I think what we'll do today is, although I have a bunch of concept topics that I'd like to talk about functions and parameter passing, really cool stuff. I'm not going to do it until such time as an opportunity to dive into it when we're looking at your code. So we'll take a look at your code, and, you know, as like last class, I think let's try. This actually works out, right? It works out beautifully, because when you guys come here and demo, and then I or one of your classmates jump in the middle, and then we pick apart your code and say, hey, we can change that, we can change this, we can change this. Let's do some experiments here. That actually worked out quite nicely, because when I looked at the YouTube video that we recorded last class, and I actually liked it. All these demos you guys did. In fact, I had to watch it 2 times, right? I had to watch it when I was uploading it to YouTube, or I uploaded it to YouTube, and one more time, I forget when. Anyway, so yeah, I think I watched it to make sure that if there were bits that were really, really boring that I needed to cut out. Okay, so let's do it that way, and which also saves me a great deal of preparation the previous day, because the previous day the last time I was thinking, well, what would be good topics to talk about today? What would be good topics to talk about today? And make a list and I send it out to you guys. And then the actual class happens. And then I realized that, oh my gosh, I had a list of these 10 things to talk about, and I talked about only the first 1 or 2. I never actually covered all of it. Instead, what we did was talk about the stuff that you guys brought up, and which was much more exciting and useful, right? Because you guys know what needs to be talked about far better than I know what needs to be talked about. So I figured, I was really engaged in a futile exercise, making a list of things that I want to talk about. No, I should be talking about things that you want to talk about. So I think that's a better way to do it, and it works out nicely for me because it gives me more time. I don't have it saves me like a couple of hours of time the day before the lecture, really. So which is cool, because that time I can use to look out for the squirrel. Now, I hope you guys are enjoying the squirrel videos that I post on YouTube. I've got the camera out there right now. He was here a little while ago, but then I think I came here to sit down and switched on the light, and that scared him. But he never goes away for good. He's just lurking around, waiting for a good time, and he'll come back to eat his goodies, and which I have left out for him, and then. Yeah, and hopefully the camera will get him then. Also, the other thing is Lane is going to come today. I don't know, is Lane here already? Lane, are you here?
This meeting is being recorded.
Hey, Lane, are you here? No, he's not here. That's funny. Oh, Zoom does not let you share the camera. It lets you share photos, screen, whiteboard, website, and even your iCloud Drive, but it doesn't let me share the camera feed. I wanted to show you the camera feed, so well, I could always share the screen. We're going to give people just 1 more minute to come in, and then we'll start. Okay. Meanwhile, you guys can think about what you want to demonstrate.
Don't forget to mute the iPad. The echo is still there.
The echo is still there?
Yeah,
I hear the echo. Where is it coming from? I bet it's coming from someone else, maybe. Oh, is it from the? Oh, I got it. I got to mute the iPad. Hang on. No, my iPad is muted. Oh, the audio from the iPad. Okay, let me. Even that shouldn't matter. Okay, how about now? Yeah. See, my speaker output on the iPad is muted, and my my microphone is muted, and I still hear the echo. I don't know where that's coming from. I got to figure that out. Okay, so screen broadcast. But I need to turn the screen around. How do I turn the camera around? I don't know. Maybe you can see it. Yeah, there you go. You see that little? Yeah. Okay. I don't know if you can see the iPad screen, but there he is. No, he's not there. But I wanted to make sure it works, because if he's there, I can show him to you. But the food is out there. Okay. So. Oh, look. My iPad is shut, and it's still. All right. Never mind. Yeah, turn on video on the iPad. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. I mean, I turned it on, but never mind. If Peter comes by, I will see what we can do. Okay. So who has? So today, again, the topic is. By the way, next week is your midterm. Yes, next week. And so And Thursday, your midterm is on Thursday. We won't have a class on Thursday, next Thursday. So next Thursday is your free day for CS2A's lecture. Doesn't mean you should sleep through the class time. You should still get up at the same time because that is the day of your midterm also. And in order to help you prepare better, what we'll do is use the entire class on Tuesday. And the next class, Tuesday, week 6 Tuesday, next class to review material. Would that be helpful? Yes. So meaning that we've pretty much covered most of this, all of the stuff we need to before the midterm. And then the only thing we need to, and then after the midterm, we'll start talking about objects. What did we cover about functions last class? We covered, parameter passing by reference, copy, and the const qualifier, so that the parameter doesn't get changed. There's still a little bit of interesting stuff to talk about in the way that a function gets executed. What happens to the program stack? How does a program know? How does the CPU know that when it's gone to execute a function, after it's done, where does it go? Right? How does it know to come back here? You're doing this, and then you go execute the function, and then come back, right? How does it know? So there's a few subtleties there, and if you're interested in knowing about those things, I can absolutely talk about it because it's actually quite exciting. But don't feel guilty that you're saying I don't want to hear this exciting thing. If you say that, oh, no, I don't want to hear about it now, all I get is that they're in the mindset of a midterm, and they're in the mindset of functions and all these other things. They're still interested in knowing how a function call will happen, but just not right now, right? So we'll just put it away for a later time when we have more time to look at these things. So, but if you're interested, I can absolutely talk about it because this is really fascinating how this whole this thing has been designed so that it goes from end to end. And then the beauty of that is that all of that magic happens and you're not even aware of it, right? It's all completely invisible to you. A long time ago, before many of you guys were born, when I was in college, I think there's a movie that came out called I think it was called Eraser. Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know if any of you remember that. I think you can find it on Netflix or Amazon Prime or something like that. So Eraser. But this point is not about the movie itself. But I happened to watch an interview of Schwarzenegger. When they do these movies, they come on these shows like Letterman and Oprah and talk about the movie, so everybody will go and watch the movie. So I happened to watch a clip of that interview of Schwarzenegger. I think it was Letterman or Leno or someone like that. And he said something that I thought was really, really interesting because that was a time when all these movies with special effects, like, Return of the Jedi and all these, no, that was much before, right? So all these movies with great special effects like Raiders of the Lost Ark, and so they were coming out. And Schwarzenegger said, what's the interesting thing about Eraser is that it has more special effects than many of these other movies that are pitched with special effects as their main attraction. Eraser has even more special effects, but the most special effect in Eraser is that nobody will be able to tell that they're special effects. Isn't that a nice thing to say? He said, there's so much magic in there, but the magic of this magic is that it's all completely invisible. So they are so realistic that you would not even be able to say that this is all a, CGI. So I thought that was a very, very nice thing to say. So someone who only understands what the point of special effects in a movie, right, would say that. Because at the end of the day, the movie is about the story, not about the special effects, right? All right. So where were we going with that? So all that magic, and when you get programming deep into programming, you're going to be doing a lot of things, and you can't afford to be thinking about the little things that happen, even though some of the little things that happen when you write a small program, there's a million things that happen in the background. Each one of those million things is as profound as something that you may have done in your code, but you don't even see it. And but it's worth, after some time, it's worth looking into these things to see how, because by looking into these things, you kind of mentally commune with the designers, these brilliant minds who actually came up with the design of the language itself, or the computing architecture, and say, if we do this, then it enables that, and then all of a sudden you can see that link, and that is so wonderful in its own right. Okay, so demos, if people have code, especially the ones who are, we're going to start now. Okay, so we have a good bunch of people. So those who haven't come up here so far, yeah, I said this before you joined class, probably link up with someone who has been up here and do a joint demo of something, right? And maybe it's not a product that maybe it's not a program that you already written, right? Even the guys who have been up here, right? In fact, you only need to have an idea at this point, an idea of something you want to do. You don't have to have written the program. In fact, it's better if you haven't written the program, right? So let's just come up with ideas, and we'll all together, like last time, right? Last class, what happened? So we were tossing ideas around, and I think, who was it? Giorgio or Sumit. Oh, Muhammad, right? He popped up, he was it Muhammad? He was the one who came up with the idea that we'll play this game, number guessing game. Yes. And then we said, let's do it. And it actually contended to be really cool, right? And then I played and I actually won the game, right? In 3 tries, I got the number. Yeah, so that's really cool. And it was actually fun for me to play too, because, before I tell you the number, I'm thinking in my head, okay, I hope this is right. So that's really why you play the game, for the few moments when you think that's going to be right. So let's play it by ear like that, so that we don't have an existing program. So if you wrote a program yesterday, just put it in your on the back burner, right? Put it in the back shelf, and just come up with an idea for something that's simple, that involves a function. And then we'll all code it up together. And I think what I'd like is for someone who has not been up here, especially someone who's shy, okay? Take this as an opportunity to overcome your shyness, right? Because when you overcome your shyness, the world is your oyster, right? Because actually, the oyster is always inside of its shell. It's very shy, right? So yeah, so the oyster should say, the world is my shell. Right, that's a much better way of that's a much better metaphor, right? So the oyster should say, the world is my shell now, not my shell. My shell is not my shell, right? So when you overcome your shyness, you'll find that the whole world opens up to you, right? Because you don't care. You don't care, because that's what holds you back. People are all. I see so many of you, right? So many of you with great talent. Because I see some of the discussions you're having, and I see some of the questions you guys are asking. And you may be thinking that's a really stupid question, right? So I go to Reddit and I see a whole bunch of people asking questions very, very cautiously in a guarded way, thinking that, oh my gosh, I hope this is not a stupid question to ask. You don't have to worry about that, because if it's a stupid question, I'll just go and delete it, okay? I'll delete it, and if I delete a stupid question, you don't get negative points for that, okay? So negative points, maybe I'll clarify that in the syllabus next time. Negative points are only for mean posts that get deleted, right? So someone asks a stupid question, and then you respond to it saying, you dumbass, you didn't know this? This is such a simple thing. We discussed it in lecture number 2, right? So if you said that in a Reddit post, and you say you corrected someone in a way that, makes them feel bad, and then that gets deleted, that's what qualifies for a -1, right? And asking a stupid question and then I delete it, that is not a -1. I deleted it because I happened to find it, and then I realized that, oh my gosh, if a recruiter or an admissions officer comes across this post in 3 years' time or 2 years when you apply, they're gonna have second thoughts about this candidate. Then I delete it, right? So those deletions don't give you negative points. But only the deletions of mean posts will get negative points. Okay, so you should go ahead and you should go. It was 2 tries. Yeah. Okay. All right. 2 tries, but still, I won the game, right? So you gave me 5 tries, and I won the game because I got it in the second try. Okay. Well, Augie said I didn't really win the game because I took the first try. Yeah, 2 tries. Okay. All right. So last class. Yeah. Okay. So come up with ideas. Come up with ideas, just like last class, and talk about these ideas rather than in chat. Talk about it. For the next 2 minutes, I won't interrupt. Talk about it amongst yourself in the chat, not in the chat, maybe verbally, and decide on a couple of ideas that we can implement today. And I might pick and choose among those ideas because I might think that, oh, that's really cool, but I don't know if I can do that in like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Or under 20 lines. Ideally, it needs to be under 20 to 30 lines. It needs to be fit. It needs to fit, right? In the YouTube thing, it needs to fit. You can't in the YouTube screen. The whole program needs to fit in the YouTube screen. So think about it. Even if it's going to be slightly, if you think it's going to be slightly bigger than that, don't worry. Okay, as long as it's not like 100 lines, that's fine. If it's 50 lines, we'll figure out a way to make it fit, or or talk about the portions that are being displayed and things like that. What seems more like more of a personal thing? Hey guys, I don't understand what the context is. You guys are talking in chat. Maybe this is a continuation of a personal discussion between you guys. Augie said that seems more like a personal thing. Alexis, so the answer to your question is in Reddit. I bet it's in Reddit, okay? If it's not in Reddit, ask and I will be more than happy to answer, because 2 or 3 people have asked that question already and I have answered it. I mean, I can give you the answer, but I'd rather you find out yourself, okay? All right. And also, team up with someone and do a presentation today. You'll find it. Take my word for it and correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Next week or 2 weeks later, come back and tell me, hit me on my head and say, oh, I followed your advice and it was totally worthless and it didn't work. So you can correct me, right? And if I'm corrected that way, at least I'll know not to, propose this idea in future. But you should try it out, team up with someone and do a presentation and tell me in 2 weeks whether that helped or not, right? But you got to do a minimal comparison. You can't say, well, I did a presentation and did it help compared to not doing a presentation at all, right? No, I think you have to compare it with something that's very close to it. You got to compare it with, yeah, I did a presentation and here, the same thing was presented, but I wasn't there, right? So that's as close as you can get, I think, minimal pair. So you can compare those two, right? What would have, you played in your head. So here is me and someone else demoing code. Here is someone else only, or someone and someone else, right? Demoing code. Exactly the same situation, same program, same everything, except the only difference is that I'm here, I'm not here, okay? That's a minimal pair you can compare in your own head. You can say, hey, is there a difference for me, right? Not, is there a difference for the world? Is there a difference for my classmates? Nah, ultimately, at the end of the day, that's all totally useless, right? The only thing that is of use to you is was it useful to me? And so check and ask yourself the question, right? Was this better than this? After 2 weeks, try it out and you'll be totally surprised, okay? How many classes, how many of your, I don't know, you're probably not enrolled in only this class, right? Most of you are enrolled in other classes too. And think about how many classes you get an opportunity to come up and do this on screen in front of class every single time, right? Most of the classes, the material you're being taught doesn't lend itself to this, right? I mean, I don't know, maybe if you're in history and they could, the teacher could ask you to, Catherine or someone, they could ask you to come up and say, well, here's something, here's an interesting, account of something that happened from the side of the victors and from the side of the losers in a battle. So analyze those and try to come up with your thoughts. Right? So analysis of maybe that you get to do that. For some, I think that those are much rarer. The situations like that are much harder to come by in other subjects, right? Even in math. So I think, especially in math, people are so scared. If you ask someone to go, here's a theorem, go and prove it on the whiteboard. So computer science, what a fantastic opportunity you have. to come up here and work through your code in front of class. It's because, and also computer science by nature, its nature is that even though you'll be doing a lot of coding on your own, the nature of computer science, professional computer science, is that it's not a solitary avocation, right? Or job. You have to eventually start working with other people, right? And you have to eventually start sharing your code. You got to eventually start getting good at explaining what your code does so that other people can help you or be helped by you. Neither of those is going to be possible, right? If you are a good if you're a professional programmer, there's two things, right? There's two things that can happen. Either you need help with your program, or you think your program is so good that it can help someone else. Right? If neither of those cases is true, well, I don't know. Yeah, maybe you can still play a program and enjoy it on your own. But if you want one of those two cases to play out, you got to get comfortable at putting yourself out there computationally like this. And here's the opportunity. Here is the opportunity for you to get free feedback. When I was a student, which I did was in a philosophy class back, Graham Oddy, I think, was my professor, and he said something to me that was amazingly. It had a great deal of great impact on me, right? It's a great effect on me, and I'm eternally grateful to him for saying these things. Many times I think back to my professors from college. You don't remember everything they said. Although you wish you would, but sometimes there are, you've been their student for, I don't know, I was a student for almost like 2 years, right? And there's so many things he said I could have remembered, but there are like 10 things he said, and that basically just etched themselves into your memory. And this was one of the things he said. This is another thing he said too, which I later on. He said, "Damn, no, I've forgotten what I was going to say." What was I talking about? Okay. So in philosophy and English, most of your grading is through essays, right? So you write your thoughts down, and the teacher will read it and grade it for you, right? And so. And in class, I think this was about after the second assignment was due or something. And he came back and said, well, yesterday was the deadline for the assignment, and 25% of you have not yet submitted. And then he said, most of you, I know, you're going to spend a great chunk of your life writing, because you have these writing skills, and you're going to be writing. You're going to be writing for other people to read your work. And when you're doing that, you are going to be praying, literally. You're going to be wishing like mad for other people to come and read your work, right? Say some editor writes a piece in the New York Times, or on his blog, or Daniel puts something out on his blog, and what does he want, right? He wants people to come and read and comment and say, well, that was nice, I used it, I had fun with it, and so on. So you want people to come and read your stuff, and that is the hardest thing to get out there, right? Even look at TV shows and books. Publishers, producers, they spend like millions of dollars marketing. You make a movie, nobody's going to watch the movie unless it's been marketed on Facebook and everybody knows about it, right? So it is so hard to get people to consume what you've produced these days, right? It's not like in those days when it was so hard to find something to entertain you. Now, everybody you look, it's entertainment. Even my light switch here, with my lamp here, is entertaining because it's got multiple colors. Yeah, it's got multiple, I don't know, this actually shows up as white, but it's actually got multiple colors, and, there's a lot of things you can do on this lamp. Everything, if people make something, I'm going to make a peanut butter sandwich, let me make it so that it's entertaining for the squirrel, okay? So everywhere there's entertainment, and people, and if you produce something, it's very hard to get eyeballs. And that's why, when you have a product these days, the number of users you have is an enormous factor in the value of the product. And that's how you get value too, right? You say, oh, it's got, well, we'll put a value of 25 cents per user. And this, has 100 million users, right? So this product should be worth $2.5 billion or something like that. And yeah, so here you have this opportunity. Don't squander it away. Don't squander away this very unique opportunity where you can actually get eyeballs for free. So take it, okay? And I'm harping on and on about that every single class, every single class. And I hope that it eventually makes its way into your mind. It needs to be ingrained, okay? It needs to be ingrained that you have nothing to fear. Just, like this squirrel, it's afraid of humans. And it takes a long time for that fear to go away. And but you have to keep working at it. And when the fear goes away, because you have to get that fear out of your mind, whether it's in this class or some other class, or through college, your 4-year institution, somewhere, like, you got to get rid of that fear, and you're constantly working towards it. And here's a great opportunity. You don't get opportunities like that every time, everywhere. So take it. All right, go ahead, guys. Now we're at 8:45. We've got like over an hour. I obviously I have a lot of stuff to talk about as far as functions and the call stack and everything goes, and I can do that if nobody volunteers. But the way you can save yourself from all that verbiage is by volunteering and taking the screen. Right, take the screen away from me so that I don't continue to monopolize it. Right. All right, the first person who takes the screen can go ahead, take the screen, and then announce an idea. This is going to be a blank screen, okay? It's going to be a blank screen. Announce an idea that you want to do. And even if you think that you have absolutely no idea how to do it, you would say, let's say, for example, Alexis takes a screen and then she says, well, I'd like to write a program which would, let's see, it needs to have a function in there somewhere. Which would, can someone think of a function to do something easy and interesting at the same time? Like Mohammed's game, right? A number guessing game. How about oh yeah, okay. If nobody else has any ideas, I have an idea. Okay. And we'll do that today. All right, take a minute, come up with an idea. Everybody, okay, everybody here, especially the ones who haven't gone up. So you could basically say, open up. I'd like to go. I don't have any ideas. That's fine too, right? So you can say that I like to go. I don't have any ideas, which means that you've got the screen, and then someone or me will brainstorm an idea and we'll code it together. So the only thing you're doing is you can come up here to demo your code and feel that you're not even doing C++, right? You can volunteer to participate in this demo in the capacity of a typist, right? So all you're going to do is just type in what I say or what someone else says, and we'll also say things like, you've seen the videos, right? We say things like, hey, let's clean up, go up to the line number 14, remove the blank line or put a semicolon there. Every single thing, even the little syntactic bits, will take care of all of those things, right? Even the cosmetic tuning, we'll do all the cosmetic tuning. It's important to do the cosmetic tuning with other people so that your sense of aesthetics, if it's slightly divergent, it'll also get course corrected. That's another thing that you're hoping to pick up as programmers is obviously everyone's style, if it's consistent and unique, is a good style. Yeah, so you could have your own style of programming, but it's consistent and it could be pretty, but it will hold you back from making major progress if. Well, no, it won't hold you back. Let me take it will be a slight impediment, a very slight impediment when you try, if your style is very different from the conventional style that everybody else is using, because then when to use other people's code, you have to now switch your mental context. I need to now understand a different style, right? So as long as the style that of the community, so the convention is not very different from your style, And you think that I could follow the community style and still not give up my own style, because it's very similar. I just need to make a few tweaks there. It actually works out in your favor to do that. And that's why during these early stages of your programmer skills development, it actually helps to do community coding. Because when you do community coding, that's an opportunity for you to basically just course correct, minor course corrections, right? You don't want to do major, like turn around the other way and all, right? Minor course corrections to say, okay, now I'm completely aligned with the way that the community is programming, which means that, it doesn't, now I can look at anybody's code and look at it with the same level of comfort as I'm looking at my own code. Right? And when you get to the point where your code is, syntactically and cosmetically not different from other people's code, then your productivity just goes on to the next level, right? It's because it's faster. It's much faster to do things. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you don't have an idea, volunteer. Okay, someone grab the screen and say, I'm going to be really, really brave today. I'll just grab the screen. And in fact, I don't even know what's going to happen, because if it's a blank screen, someone could come up with an idea that I have no idea how to. There you go. It's a fantastic opportunity to take the screen. Someone who has not taken the screen before, then we'll brainstorm an idea and then we'll code it. Okay, and don't worry if the idea that I have in my head is simple enough for anybody to code. If someone comes up with a more complex idea, I'll say, no, let's do that some other day. We'll do the simpler one. If someone comes up with a simpler idea, we'll do that. Okay. All right. So someone who hasn't taken the screen, take it right now. Come on, guys. Who is it? I'd like to go. Nee, go. That's fine. Perfect. Take it, Nee. How do you pronounce your name? Nee, right? Oh, cool. Yeah. In Tamil, Nee means you. All right. So Nee, go means you go. All right. Okay. So take the screen. Take the screen. And all right. So what is so someone give us ideas. What can we do? Right. And those of you who are still shy and look at, look, this is what's happening. Right? Nee just took the screen and we're all going to code. And now put yourself in Nee's shoes, so that next class, you can do the same thing, right? You can do the same thing. And you will thank me, right? You will literally thank me like next quarter if you did this. Someone come up with an idea, or do you want my idea?
I had like a kind of simple idea, maybe.
Yeah, is this Giorgio?
No, this is Momo.
Momo, yeah, okay.
It basically kind of uses, I think, for loops.
Uh-huh.
But it would basically, like, you would put in a like size t integer number, and it would create like a pyramid using asterisks.
Oh, all right.
With the base being the size t, right? And then
okay.
it would have to be.
I like that idea. All right.
It has to be symmetrical. So like it can't be like a right triangle. It has to be like an isosceles or whatever.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. And I like this because it has a great deal of scope for extending, right? So you can say you can have a function for drawing an isosceles triangle. You can have another function for drawing an equilateral triangle, and you can call the one that you want. Yeah. But not, we'll only do one today, like you said. But later on, someone could take that and modify it and say, "Hey, I took Nee's program." Oh, no, not Nee. This is Momo, right?
Yeah,
no,
Momo.
Yeah, Momo and Nee, right? So I took their program and took that to the next level by adding another function for an isosceles for a right triangle. So that'll be really cool. Is everybody okay with that? We can do it.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty cool idea.
Okay, all right, I like that too. Okay, great. So here's how we'll do it, okay? So can we do it top down like we did before? So meaning that in your main method, the first thing you're going to do is ask the user, what do you want for the base of the triangle, okay? So you say, what is the base of the triangle? Let me try to think, okay? You got the base. Do we need the height also, or shall we just calculate the height ourselves? We'll do the height ourselves, okay? The reason I say that is because if you also get the height, and it may be that the triangle doesn't look so good, right? Because you may have, it may be like this, right? Like that, and then jump all of a sudden, and then, so you don't want to have these jagged edges. jagged lines. So we'll determine the height ourselves. In fact, we'll make them equilateral. Yeah, let's do equilateral, which is the easiest, right? Easiest, which means then if we do an equilateral triangle, so how many? If the base is can we use stars for the drawing characters? Yeah, yeah, stars. We can use stars. So each star is 1 pixel. Okay. Now, yeah. Go ahead. Oh, by the way, Ni, get rid of the /n. Get rid of the /n, and then put a colon instead of the question mark. Oh yeah, leave the question mark. Then the question mark is fine. I like the question mark, but a space after the question mark was good. You had a space, yeah. Okay. Now you want to accept input from the user. Get line. Perfect. Thank you. You know, I was thinking you were going to do CN greater than, and I was thinking, oh, we've got to fix that. No. All right. So let's do it. Get line. Now you want to get the user's input into an integer. Yeah. Okay, that'll work. Wow, I like this, you know, and you were so no, this is not a guess, it's not a game. It's not a game, it's a base, right? Base of the triangle. Yeah. Base length or something. Yeah, call it base length because base, I don't know, in C++ means has so many other meanings. Logarithm, yeah. Okay, so now we've got the length of the base, number of stars for the base. Now we want to know, find out what the height ought to be. The height ought to be so that we end up at the base. Because here's what we're going to do, right? We're going to print lines containing stars, 1 star, 2 stars, 4 stars, 1 star, 2 stars, 2 stars, 2 stars. And every time you add 2 more stars at this side and that side, this side and that side, such that after a while you end up exactly at the bottom. Yeah. So now I think we want the length to be an even number. Even number because I think that's how. No, does it need to be an even number? No. I think it should be an odd number. It should be an odd number. Okay. So because you have the star and then it should be an odd, even on both sides. So check if the number is odd. If it's not odd, just add 1 to it. Do you know how to do that?
Oh, I need some help here, I think. I think this is checking it if it's even, right?
Yes, that's checking if it's even.
Oh,
so if it's even, you want to do add 1 to it.
Add 1. Is this one or do we
No. If that checks if it's even, which is correct.
Oh, okay.
So if it's even, you add plus base length. All right. So does this make sense? Now we've got an odd length for the base. Is everybody okay so far? Okay, great. Thank you, Ni. All right. Now we want to know what the height should be. Let me get my iPad here. What should the height of this thing be so that right, you end up exactly here. I need to share my whiteboard. Oh, I can't do this until you're. No, never mind. I'm not going to do it then. Okay. All right. So. No. We're not. Let's not ask the user for the height. We'll calculate the height ourselves. Okay. So how do we calculate the height? Suppose let's take a concrete case. Suppose I said 5, right? It's 5 stars. That's a base. What would the height be? So I would have 1 star at the top. That's a tip, and then 2 below that. Yes. So that's already width 3, and the next one should be 5. Yes. So if the base is 5 and the height of the triangle is really 5 divided by 2, right? Because when you draw the things from the top, it's going to grow by 1 on each side. right? So strictly speaking, it's not going to be an equilateral triangle. Yeah, but it'll be a symmetric triangle, right? Yeah, isosceles symmetric triangle. Okay. All right. So now you're going to say call a function. You're going to call a function, draw. So you can call a function, say draw equilateral triangle. Oh no, draw isosceles triangle with base. I don't know what the spelling is. I think it's ISOCE, CELES. Someone should Google that and correct us.
Yes, it's CELES.
Okay. Draw isosceles. Yeah, you can say triangle or not. Up to you. Yeah. With base, you know, give it the baseline with base with yeah. And in fact, let's also make it baseline. That's fine. That's self-documenting. All we need is to make sure that it's self-documenting. So we don't want someone to phone you or email you saying, "Hey, Nee, what did you mean?" Right? So that is very clear. All right, and that completes main. Just put a return 0 after that. Yeah, and get rid of the blank line. Okay, now at the top, you're going to, before main, you're going to define that function, right? So you say void draw isosceles triangle. That is called the declaration of the function, right? But in this case, we don't need an explicit declaration because the function definition is given to the compiler even before the compiler sees the first invocation of the function. You know, with functions, we have the definition of the function. The definition is the body of the function, the statements that define what the function is supposed to do. What we're going to do now is the definition of the function. Invocation of the function is not, you know, you don't even know what the definition is. Maybe the function was defined by some person 15, 20 years ago and stuck in a library that you're going to use, right? So you don't know what the definition is, but you invoke a function. So that's called the invocation of the function. That's the second place where you would see the name of the function. 3 places. The first is when you define it. Obviously, you're going to say, here is my function. And here's the definition. That's the first place you see the name of the function. Second place where you see the name of the function is when you invoke it, saying, well, there is a function somewhere. Someone has defined it. I want to invoke that function. So you call the function, say the name of the function. The third place where you would also see the name of the function is in something called a declaration. And the declaration is a place, and usually the declarations are put in header files. Then, you know, you include these IO stream and all these header files. Declarations are usually put in these header files, and declarations are basically just information that you, hints that you give the compiler, saying, hey, compiler, in my program, I'm going to call a function called draw isosceles, okay? But don't freak out and say, oh, I don't know that there is a function called draw isosceles and you're calling an unknown function. I'm going to throw up my hands and then kill your compilation job and, you know, say, fatal error, I can't compile this code, and lots of red ink. And you've seen that, right? When you compile code, you see that it doesn't work because the compiler doesn't know some function that you've defined, right? So if to prevent that, all you need to do is basically tell the compiler, hey, dear compiler, there is a function I'm going to invoke, and it's defined somewhere else. So don't worry if you don't see the body or a definition of the function, but it's there, okay? The way you tell that is by just declaring the function to the compiler. And the declaration does not need to have the entire body, because, you know, this body could have been 5,000 lines long, you know, implemented by someone else. You don't even know what it is, right? So you say, there is a function. I don't know the body and you don't know the body, but just take it from me, my word, right? That there is this function and this is what the signature of the function is. Why is the signature of the function important? We'll come to that later when we talk about the mechanics of how the function is actually called. But you announce to the compiler, pre-announce to the compiler. That's a declaration. So when you have the definition above the place where it's called the very first time, you don't need a declaration, because, you know, by the time the compiler encounters the invocation, it already seen the definition, and so the declaration is in the definition already. Okay, so draw isosceles, and it's going to take a parameter. Thank you for waiting me, right? I put in the parameter int, isn't it? Int baseline. Okay, now open up the braces and everything. We'll complete the function. Okay. All right, so you have a space after before the main brace, but you don't have a space after this brace. Yeah, okay. All right, cool. So we're going to compile. So what is the length? What is the height of this function going to be? What's the height of this function going to be? It's really half the length, right? Right. Now we're going to do this, and it's very important that we're doing this. Actually, is a very good choice of a program to look at, because there's bound to be a corner case here, which we will probably encounter when we run it, because we're doing a divide by 2, and we don't know if the divide by 2 is going to give us the exact right answer, or it's going to be off by 1, right? So rather than think through it, sometimes it's actually easier in simple cases to just do it and run it and look at the output, and then you know exactly what the corner case that needs to be fixed is. So that's what we're going. That's what we're going here. Okay. So int height. Okay. Now we know the height of this triangle, and we know the base. So let's. What we need to do is we want to print all of the rows of a triangle, and in fact, let's make them hollow triangles. Okay. So in other words, hollow triangle meaning that there's no stars inside of the triangle, right? So the stars are only on the edges, not on the inside. It's a slightly harder problem, I think. Yeah, it's a very slightly harder problem. Actually, you know, let's do that for your homework. We'll just do a solid triangle. Okay, we'll do a solid triangle. It's easier. Solid triangle, that's easier. Okay, so what we want to do is the first line should only have 1 star. The second line should have 2 stars that are right below that. Third line should have, I don't know, what is it? What, 4, it's still 2 stars, but they're, you know, how do I say this? Well, you know what I mean, right? So 1 star, the next line has 2 stars here, the next line has 2 stars here, yeah? And so that's what we're going to do. All right, so where does the first star go in that line? How many lines are we going to print here? So we need 2 loops, right? We need 2 for loops here. We're going to need a nested for loop. So how many lines do we have? So write the outer for loop. And in fact, put in a blank line before the for, because you have declarations, and then, yeah, for size t, height, right? H, oh yeah, whatever. H equals 0, h less than height. So if it's 5, then you end up drawing, if the height is 5, you need to, yeah, 5. Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, I think that should do it. And we've made sure it's odd. Okay. Okay, so so what do we do? And for the very first row, we need a star, and the star should be right in the middle of that array, right, of that string. So here's something you can do. Well, there is, so what we need there is a base over 2 spaces, and then the star, and then base over 2 spaces on this side, yes? So if you have 5, then you have 2 spaces, a star, and then 2 spaces. So what you want to do is, for the first one, how do you calculate the number of spaces on this side and that side? For the first row. Take some time and find out, so what we want to do is everybody clear on what we want to do here?
Would it be base length minus 1? Because if the base is 5, and if you subtract 1, that's 4. So that'll indicate the number of spaces.
Right. Who is this?
Momo.
Momo. Yes, that is absolutely right. But we can get that effect by just dividing by 2, because we're in integer space, right? We're not dealing with a floating point or fractional numbers. If you take an integer and divide by 2, you'll get the right thing. Yes? Okay. So what we want to do is find out the number of spaces on this side and that side. So h is a value that tells you how many lines you are from the top. So when h is 0, you're at the topmost line. If you're on the topmost line, you need to have, you know how many spaces on this side and that side. Yes. So you need to have, how do you find out how many spaces on this side and that side if it's a topmost line? So what you can do is essentially take the base and then subtract h plus 1 divide by 2. I think that should give it to you for every line. Yes. For every line, you take the height. and divide by 2 is height and divide by 2. Does that give you the number of spaces on either side? You got to think about this with me, okay? Because that's how you figure out. You figure it out and say, well, does this work? Does this work? All right, you're thinking about it in your mind. And then, you know, sometimes it's hard to think about it in your mind. You just try it out and see if it works, okay? So let's say you want to print. Go ahead, you know, try it out, So you want to say, I wish I had a notebook here because my iPad is, actually, I can just do it on my iPad. I can have a notebook, you know. You won't be able to see it because it's going to be my thing, but I can figure it out here. Notes. You guys go ahead, you know, just go now. Don't wait for me. Just think aloud, right? Think aloud. That's how all of you can think together. So verbally, not in the chat window. Just think aloud, saying, "Hey, do you think we should do this, and so on and so forth." Yeah. So what should the value be?
Do you guys think if we did like height minus h minus 1, that would give us the correct amount of spaces? I feel like that might work.
Have you got it? Someone asked a question, nobody answered. Is this only one person? You guys, yeah, collaborate. You know, multiple people should be talking at the same time. Right, so I'd like to see someone guide Nee and say, hey, Nee, do we do this? And Nee should respond, and someone else should respond, right? So have a collaborative coding environment right here. And I can't hear any of you, right? So you got to talk with more loudly. Okay, so I think this is the easiest way to do it. Since nobody else is chiming in, I've got to. Oh, Andy had to go. What a bummer. But you know, I hope he'll look at the video later. All right. So, that's good. That's what you should do, right? You should. In fact, hey, Nee, your picture is wrong. What you've got too many. Yeah. You got too many dashes on the second line. You remember? Imagine 5, right? Just think about 5, and then it'll generalize to everything else. Line it up. I think the second one is okay. All right, and then the third line. Excellent. No, it's 5. 5. You only got 4. Is it all lined up and proper?
I think so.
Great. Okay. So now, if you look at that picture, you can see that essentially there is this rectangle, and then you got a triangle here and another triangle here, right? So, but if you look at those guys at the top, you have 2 spaces, and then all stars, and then 2 spaces after that, right? On the next line, you have 1 space on either side, and stars between. So essentially what you're doing is starting at the first row, you're going to have, you're going to print one star with 2 spaces on either side. And the 2 essentially is the height. So you want to go from 0 to, the first one is height. So that many spaces. Yes? In fact, you just say J instead of space, it's easier. So you want to, you want, J. I think there's a syntax error. J equals 0. No, J equals H. J equals H. J is greater than 0. And you need a semicolon. It's a space after the semicolon before the J. J equals H. J is greater than or equal to 0, right? So J could be equal to 0 too. And J minus minus. Okay. Now you print spaces. And then you want to figure out how many stars to put there, and then more spaces after that. How do you do that? Because the first line is only 1 star. I think that working that into the logic is the challenge here, right? So the first line has 1 star, and then the same, you have spaces, star, and then spaces. The second line has spaces, star, and then spaces, and then star, and then more spaces after that. So we basically have to figure out. So in this case, you have 3. This is the way I think about it, right? So on each line, you have 3 spans of spaces. Space here, space in the middle, space in that side. Okay. As long as you calculate how many spaces on the left, how many spaces on the right, how many spaces on the middle, you're done. So are we okay so far?
I don't understand why there's going to be space in the middle. If you look
on
at
the second line, you'll have space in the middle, right?
in Nee's drawing though, from lines.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I keep. Yes, you're right. Whoever said that, you're right.
Mhm.
I'm thinking about the hollow triangle again. So you only have 2 banks of spaces. So you have spaces here, and then spaces there, and then you have the number of stars that need to go in the middle. Yeah. So now you need to find out the number of stars that go there. On the first line, only 1 star. On the second line, 3 stars. On the third line, 5 stars. Right. So the number of stars is basically something like 2n plus 1. Yeah. So the number of stars that you need to print is essentially 2 times j plus 1. That should give you successive odd numbers starting at 1. Yes or no?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. All right. So print the number of spaces. What is it? What comes after the spaces? This is the stars. Print stars. Another loop after that. The next for loop.
So we need the spaces only 2 sides of the stars.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Because who asked that?
Was it Georgia?
Giorgio, yes, the 2 star. Yeah, I think we decided to do solid triangles, not hollow.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, go ahead. So stars. Yeah, you can use K because you use J there. You can use K here. No, just to be more consistent. You can later on when you do this code on your own, you can change J to spaces or whatever it is and make it all more consistent. Okay. So number of how many stars? You have 2 times H plus 1. So K should be less than 2H plus 1. K plus plus, and then you print a star. Okay, so is it okay if I don't chime in for the rest of this method and you guys take over and say, you have to complete it, okay? I'm not gonna say anything more. And then you complete it, run it, and there's gonna be, if it doesn't look right, you're gonna go back here and fix it. And I'm gonna just keep my trap shut all the time and just keep watching. Are you guys okay with that? But that means that you guys should, pipe up and talk, because I can't just be watching and not hearing anything. So I should be able to hear you guys talk.
Nee, I think we have to set a base length and we have to set a base length, I think. Oh yeah, and also include namespace. Like, what's our base length? I don't think we defined that. Like when we call the function.
No, do you not pass it in?
No, we don't have a 5.
I don't think we called it in.
So line 23, can you do int base length equals 5?
Oh, why? Because
No, we should.
he's getting the base length from the user.
Oh yeah. it's
Oh,
user-
gotcha. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that part. So why are we getting
And it's
errors?
being passed in as a parameter. Just make sure my chat window is covering it. Hang on. Okay. Yeah, he's passing it in as a parameter. There you go. Yeah. Draw isosceles. Oh, it's not complete yet, by the way, right? You've got the, oh yeah, of course it's complete, right? You don't need the stars on the others, but you're missing the new line or something, I think. You're missing the new line at the end of each line of stars, right?
And L, yeah, or
No, you can't put it there. Can you put it there? Where the cursor is right now? No. Okay, if you put it there, what happens?
every star is gonna have like a new line.
Yeah. So you need to put the star at the end of the entire line of stars after all the stars have printed.
Wait, can you give me more specific instructions? I'm very confused.
Yeah, sure. No worries. Yeah, and thank you for asking, right? That's exactly the kinds of questions that people should ask. Who asked that? Nee, was it you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you. All right. So that line, the cursor where you have that for statement for K, the loop with K, that is the for loop that prints the line of stars. Are we cool so far? That for loop prints a line of stars. Yeah?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, after you've done all the star printing, what do you do?
New
The blank
line.
line.
Is
Yeah,
it
you should
down
go to
here?
the next line. Yeah. See out. Now you need a new line. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Great. All right. Try run it and let's see if it compiles. Okay. No, we got a bunch of, yeah, that's okay. We just have to fix the syntax errors and so on. Yeah. Okay. So what does it say? Can someone? Yeah, I'm not sure. So, yeah, you guys.
Oh, we need the like iOS. Do we have
Need like using namespace and as well as stream.
yeah, that's it. That's true.
I think it's.
Which line is it?
Were we supposed to start user input with size T?
Oh, I see. Because user input is int, right? No, what? No, oh, string, right?
String,
Is
We
yeah.
have to include. We have to hash include string, right?
No, you don't have to. No, you don't have to because it's there. It's there.
5. Oh no.
No.
No, I gave it a 5
You got
and
an infinite loop. You got an infinite loop. Kill it. That's fine. It's great. Yeah. Okay. So debug it, guys. You just go ahead and debug it. It should be relatively straightforward to debug it now. Okay. So you got it all compiled and it's working, but there's an infinite loop somewhere, and it's just continuing to print on and on.
Does returning true break you out of the loop? I mean,
No, it's a void function. It doesn't return anything. I'm not going to say anything, right? I'm just looking at your code. Someone else should be. If you guys are waiting for me to come in and debug this, I'm not doing it. Okay, so we got a lot of time now. You guys should be pouncing on this code and taking it apart and trying to fix it. You know what the behavior is. You know what the desired behavior is, and you have the code right here. So this is an opportunity for you to just dive in and see what's going on and fix it. Okay, it's a great experience and great practice. Great practice. You'll never forget this. Okay, so do it. I'm not going to do it for you. I'm just watching. What time is it? Yeah, we got time, right? Even if we just manage to complete this one program today, I think it's useful. I'll take 5 minutes at the end of class to talk about some of the, some of the conceptual issues.
I think our issue is from the size t variable in the second for loop, because we're trying to say once that size t variable becomes negative, we should end the loop. But because it's size t, it'll never be negative. So I think we should replace that with the int j, and that might help.
You only got 2? What happened to the third line? Oh, because you don't, yeah.
I think it's the height on line 7. If base length is 5 divided by 2, wouldn't that be it? Wouldn't we get 2 as our height?
Yes, oh, I see.
It should be like base length something else. Like height shouldn't be base length divided by 2, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. What should it be?
If it's base length minus 2, I don't know. I think minus 2 would work.
I think +1 should work right there, right? It should basically say, yeah, is a height half +1. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think that'll work as well. Yeah, that should work it too. Yeah.
What you said will also work, because I think where you were going was base length +2, then divide by 2 or something. All right, now you just need to align it up, I guess. The number of spaces.
I think we're printing the spaces in the reverse order. I think we need to flip that around.
Still, are you okay to figure this out? This is you can figure this out. I can guarantee that one of you will definitely figure this out in the next 5 minutes. Okay, so if you need my help, I'm happy to tell you how to fix it. I'd rather you just figure it out, right? It's right there in front of your eyes. You minor modifications, you'll get it. Okay.
Is it possible to kind of like highlight the triangle we just built? I kind of want to see where the spaces are. Oh no, that doesn't help actually.
Well, one thing you can do is just print like we did for Schrodinger's cat. You can print the whole thing within quotes, within single quotes, so that you know that your.
Oh, nice. Like good idea, Nee. So we're getting like the bottom is returning like 8. No, wait. Yeah, it's returning like 8 things when we only want.
No, it's not returning 8. It's all correct. It's just that
each line is like the spaces or A's in this case. Each line is adding up. Like the first line is 1, the second line is 2. I don't think it should be like that.
Wouldn't you want 4 spaces on the first line with 2 on each side of the star, and then 1 space on the second line with 3 stars in between and no spaces on the bottom line? So we're definitely, at the end of the day, you want to print 5 things on each line. The first line is going to be 2 spaces with 1 asterisk in the middle. The second line is going to be 1 space on each side with 3 asterisks in the middle. And the last line is going to be 5 asterisks with no spaces. But for some reason, it's printing 2 things, then 5 things, then 8 things.
In fact, what Andrew just said also gives you a very nice way of structuring the logic itself, because you know that the first line only has 1 star, right? And the second line has 3 stars, 5 stars. So each line, the number of stars is basically 2n plus 1, right? The first one is 2 times 0 plus 1 stars. 2 times 1 plus 1 stars, 1, 3, 5. So you got the number of stars is basically the number of odd numbers sequentially. Now, how many spaces do you need to have before the star? It's basically the total length of the base minus the number of stars, and then half of on this side and half on that side, yes? So once you know the number of stars that need to go on each line, you subtract that from the base, and then take half of what's left, and that's the number of spaces you need. Now, does that explanation make sense to you guys? Do you want me to explain that again?
Yes. So you actually have to get the half of the base length and then put it in the middle for the asterisk, and then the remainder, the half of the remainder has to be spaces on each side.
What was the first thing you said? Get half of the baseline.
half of the baseline, we have to get it and put it as asterisks in the middle. And then
no. You don't put at half of the baseline as asterisks. You know how many stars should go on each line. Now, we need to be absolutely clear on that point, because on the first line, how many stars are you going to have?
okay,
No matter what the triangle is.
So we're gonna do -2, and then the second.
No. On the very first line, on the very first topmost line, how many stars will you have?
1.
Regardless of the triangle. Forget about the base length. Okay, 5, 10, 5 million. How many stars?
1.
Okay, 1. Good. Okay, how many stars will you have on the second line?
Gotta be plus 2.
How many stars will you have on the second line?
Plus 2, so 3.
3. And the third line?
Plus 2, so 5.
Great. Okay, so we're going 1 star, 3 stars, 5 stars, and so on until you get to baseline stars.
Okay, but I'm trying to reverse engineer this, so I'm starting from the bottom.
Oh, but you can't start from the bottom. You're printing from the top, right?
You're gonna print from the top, so you want to start from the top. So if you know that you have 1 star at the top, and if you know that your base length is 5, if you know that that is the desired output as the kind of final line, you can then take the base length of 5, subtract the 1 star that you know you're going to print, that leaves you with a remainder of 4. You take the remainder of 4, you divide that by 2, and that gives you how many spaces on each side.
Yep, that's exactly what I was trying to say. So you get the remainder and then divide it by 2, and then each side is going to be that amount of spaces.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah,
go ahead and do that.
Giorgio, you said that on the first time go. I think the only confusing part that Anand was trying to clarify was what you're subtracting. How are you getting the remainder? And yeah, the remainder is going to be the stars that you output on each line, subtracted from the base length. Sorry.
Exactly.
Yeah, go ahead. Do that. Yeah, I think that's right. You guys are on the on the ball here. I can't wait to see the output. I will draw a big ass triangle and see what it looks like. The first thing in the thing is, find out the number of stars you need, right? Find out the number of stars. When you calculate the height, let's do it the easy way. After you calculate the height, right? Say int num stars equals int num stars. Oh, actually, is it num stars? No, actually not after the height. It has to be inside, right? It has to be inside the for loop. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't even know what I'm thinking here, right? Inside the for loop, yeah. You want to know the number of stars, and the number of stars is essentially 2h plus 1. Yes? Is that the number of stars on each line?
What was h again?
H is the variable that goes from 0 to h, 0 to height.
Oh, 0 to height. So
it's kind of like we're describing our height by measuring from top down.
Yeah, so I think 2h plus 1 is.
Do you think we should have called it j or something else instead of h? Because h, like you just pointed out, means height to us. No,
you typically think of height moving from bottom to bottom upward, but
fix it on time later.
I don't think that's us imposing. I mean, part of it is obviously humans are going to be the ones using these programs, so you want to go along with human convention, but height. Yeah, that's interesting. Interesting question.
Yeah, but you're right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but we can look at that later. So calculate the number of stars, 2 num stars, and then the number of spaces. Calculate the number of spaces using the logic you just described on that line. Before you get to now, before the for loop, calculate the number of spaces. Then you can inline it later. Before you get to the inner for loop, after the num stars calculation, you can say the number of spaces you need are baseline minus num stars divided by 2. Yeah, is that right? Int num spaces equals, on the next line, int num spaces equals baseline minus num stars, and then you need half of that on either side. Okay, I want everybody to understand what we're doing here, right? There's passive onlookers who basically switch their minds off. I want to make sure that everybody who understands where we are right now, type in yes, okay? in the chat window. Okay, I don't see a bunch of you. I don't see a bunch of you. Yeah. Yes, without understanding. Well, all right. You have to, everybody, right? You got to understand this and take your time after class today if necessary. Because if you don't understand this, you're not going anywhere in CS2A for sure. After the class, after the midterm, you'll be totally lost. In fact, after the midterm, it'll be pointless for you to come and attend these classes even, because we'll be talking about stuff, and most of the time, what we talk about will just go over the top of your head. So if you don't want that to happen, you got to understand this 100%. Okay, so after this, whether you go to talk to Lane or Andrew or go to the Slack session that some of you organize, you got to be really solid on what's going on. Okay, now you can print the number of spaces and then the stars, and you're done. Yeah. For j equals 0, j less than number of spaces. Now also you have a more conventional for loop, which is easier to debug, right? Whenever you have these less conventional, it's not a less conventional for loop to have minus minus, but the minus minus loop is usually more error prone than the plus plus loop, especially if you're using both of them and in a context that's close to each other and so on. So now it's a more intuitively easy loop. You can get rid of the A and make them spaces, and you're done.
And it works.
Yeah. Yay! That is so cool. That is so cool. I like it. Okay. Now, so for your homework or things that you want to do later, and just, extensions of this program for you to share on Reddit, take this code that Nee has written and try and change it so that it draws a right angle triangle, okay, or an equilateral triangle. And in those cases, you may actually have to use your knowledge of trigonometry or Pythagoras theorem to calculate what the height should be. It's all really cool, and you can do that. Actually, no, yeah, you can. You don't need to use the theorem there, I think. Oh yeah. For maybe you do. For if you do a right triangle, you need to calculate the hypotenuse length, I guess. So you need to calculate those things, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun. There, it's working, and it's a nice program, and it produces symmetric, beautiful output. Right? You just built a spire, right? You built the spire of the Empire State Building right there. It's kind of cool. Is everybody okay with what we've done so far? So this is a completely, fully functional program written when we started this class, and we started coding with absolutely no idea what we're going to code. Yes, we just opened up, and Nee just volunteered bravely, and she came up here and said, "I'm going to code." And that takes a lot of courage, because you don't know. I could say, well, all right, Nee, now you're gonna code up this fancy algorithm to control rover on Mars. Okay, go ahead and do that. And Nee was brave enough to just say, no matter what it is, I'll do it, because you have the strength of the entire class behind you, right? We've got your back. You can be brave enough. 40. Oh, wow, very nice. So now you can knock yourself out, take this program to the next level, do funky things, and share that.
Can we see a odd number, Nee?
Oh, you want to enter an odd number?
Yeah, Augie mentioned it, and I thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, absolutely, we should try.
I think he was mentioning an even number, so 40 passed the test.
Yeah, go ahead, try it out.
I want to see if like an odd number will crash. I don't know. I just want to see like the output.
Go do it. Yeah, do it. Yeah, I want to see too.
An odd number was what we did previously with like 5.
Oh yeah, wait, you're right. So what was it?
So even should have been the one that would have been problematic. That's the one that we were doing the if statement of, if the remainder is 2, then add 1. So if we really want to be careful with testing if our program ran the way we wanted, 40, it should divide by 2, so it should plus 1, so it should count it as 41, and thus we should see if the height matches 41 instead of 40.
Right. You should get the same triangle that he got last time when you tried 40.
If you don't want to count that many, you can just do a lower even number.
Yeah, that's right.
It'll be easier to debug if you do like 6 or 8.
Yeah. Run 6, and then no, don't hit run button. Don't hit the run button. Hit the up arrow. Hit the up arrow. Up arrow on your keyboard.
So it operated the way we wanted. With any even number, we purposely told it to add 1 to it. So it prints, instead of a triangle of 6, a base of 7.
Right. Now you should try 7, right under there. No. Just type /main. /main. Type /main. Yeah. You just run it. Okay. Now type 7.
It should be the same. Oh no.
Whoa.
If you, what happens if you put a negative number?
Yeah. See, those are the kinds of things we should try. Whoa! He's printing what he's doing there is essentially printing a triangle whose base is. Can someone tell me what it's doing?
Because it's negative, it puts us into an infinite loop.
Yeah.
No, not an infinite loop.
So it's basically a pretty large number.
Yeah. Okay, -1 is that huge number, string : n+, right? It's like 4 billion. So it's now printing your triangle with a base of 4 billion. We'll eventually do it on a screen that is big enough, and if we had enough time, you'll see the result, but it's doing the right thing. That's cool. That's very cool. And so first of all, thank you so much, Nee, for volunteering to come up here and do your code. Fantastic.
So returning to the even and odd numbers, we're basically changing the user input if he puts an even number.
Yeah, we're changing it because it's not aesthetically pleasing otherwise, because you'll end up with 2 dots, 2 stars on the topmost, and then you won't have a.
Yeah. But this would have happened if we make a triangle which is not like filled. We can because each side does actually, you could do it with an even number. I think. I'm guessing it will be like that.
Well, try it out.
Test it out by commenting out the if.
Yeah, if we're doing it.
Try it out. Comment it out, and then let's try it and see what happens.
Also, just for future reference, if you ever want to comment out a larger portion, you can do /* and then */ at the bottom.
Yeah, so one side didn't work. It's not symmetrical.
That's right, because of the way that we do it.
Yeah, but if we coded it another way, I think it might have worked because in this case we only want 1 star at the top. Maybe if we
allowed for 2 stars at the top.
Yeah, or change the whole. If we didn't fill the triangle, or maybe I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. In fact, I would very much like it if you guys in Reddit, when Nee posts this code, if you guys could go in and say, hey, I took that and adjusted it so that it's a hollow triangle now, or something like, was that Giorgio who said that? Yeah, and Giorgio could say, well, I did that other thing I talked about in class, and here is the variation. So you've got Nee, and then Nee's variations, like 10 variations posted under that thread. That would be really cool. Does this make sense for everybody?
Yes.
Yep.
Thanks. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's great. That's what you should do. You type in yes at least in the chat window, and so I know. Now, those of you for whom it's not 100% clear, can you please arrange with Andrew or Giorgio or Denis or all these other people who have done this? Send them a personal message, okay? A personal message kind of saying, hey, do you have time to, 10 or 20 minutes to go over this, right? And then you can go over the program personally, because I know that, many of you are just shy to ask questions in class in a public setting like this, but just talk to these people one-on-one, and I'm pretty sure they will be able to help and explain. Is that right, guys? Are you guys happy to explain for if someone asks you personally?
Sure, more than happy.
Thank you so much. Right, and if those guys are not reachable, nobody's reachable, and then you still don't understand it, yeah, I'm there. Okay, so you just ask me and say, hey, I want to know this really soon. It's an urgent matter, life or death, and those guys are not here. Okay, and I will be happy to help you out if I can. All right, so I think that was good. I think it's a really nice program that demonstrated a bunch of things. If you guys want, we can do one more, or I could talk about questions that you have or conceptual issues with regard to what happens when.
You were going to talk about the exam. Somebody asked about the midterm exam.
Yeah. I'm happy to talk about the midterm. Everything we've covered so far. I think I did this already. As I mentioned this, right? Everything except arrays will be on the midterm. Plus, minus operators, loops, branching statements. You'll have a bunch of program fragments that you should run in your head and then get the answer and type in the answer, objective style. And in many of these cases, I don't know if you can take the program fragment and type it into your IDE. You can have an IDE open because you can try it out and take the answer and type it into your exam. But sometimes with these fragments may not work in your IDE. You may need to have extra code on top and to make the fragment work. But you got to figure those things out. Right? You figure it out, and I think it'll be fine. I don't think there's anything to worry about in your midterm. I already told you this, right? So I don't think there's going to be any trick questions. And if you think that anytime you think that you got a question wrong, but you actually went ahead and understood the concept solidly after that, you have to send me an email saying, I got this wrong, but then I actually now understand how to do this, and here's my understanding, right? So you just have a couple of sentences saying that's what it is. I'm happy to, and that's why it is. I'm happy to give the point back to you, right?
So we should review Michael Lose's modules from 1 to 4, first part of module 4, right? Because the second part, I think it's the arrays.
No. Arrays are 8. I think they come in module 8.
Yeah, well, yeah, and the second part of module 4, it's included in module 4.
Okay, all right, yeah, that's fine. So go ahead those are the bits that will be in the exam. What else was I about to say?
It'll be on Canvas, right? And like kind of like that.
Yeah, same as a quiz. Same kind of experience as a quiz. I think objective style. Anytime you can take it anytime from the morning to the night. So pick a time and you won't be disturbed. And here is a tip I gave someone, and it's a general tip, okay, not just for CS2A midterm. This person was getting ready for an interview at Google or something like that. And I think this usually helps people is before you go into the exam, just convince yourself, just say this to yourself like a million times if necessary. Tell yourself that you failed the midterm, right? Just tell yourself that I've done a really bad job. This midterm is going to be horrible. I'm not going to do it well. This is like counterproductive, right? It says, what I'm trying to get at is, when you go to an interview, go to the interview with the assumption that you are not going to make it through, right? Go to the interview assuming that you've lost the job. You've lost the opportunity. You're not going to get it. Now, something interesting happens when you do that. So when you do that, when you say, I'm going to go and attend this interview, but I'm not going to get this job, but I'm still going to do it. Why would you do an interview if you're still not going to get the job? Why? Right? You would do it because it's an interesting experience, right? Because you'd say, hey, in this interview, they would give me some interesting problems like lead code, right? So interesting problems that I can code on. And even better, I can code on it with that person. Now, I can code on it with that person without the added pressure that I have to impress the person, right? Because if you're in the interview, you're always thinking the number one priority in your head is not whether I should solve the problem, but the number one priority is how can I impress the person? Yes or no? right? So you're not really, 100% of your brain cycles is not focused on the problem. You're focused on how can I ace the interview? How can I, oh, boy, you got to look at this. The squirrel is here. How do I share my screen? Hang on. My screen.
Hey, Anand, this is Lane. Maybe I'll interrupt while you
Lane, go ahead. We were
look for
waiting
that.
for you. You know, we were waiting for you all the time. Yeah, go ahead. And I'll just put up the squirrel video in the meantime, right? So
Cool.
people can look at you.
Hello, world. My name is Lane. I am butting in on your class for a couple of reasons. One is to introduce myself, so check that.
We can't see you. Lane, I can't see you.
Let's see. I got my video up here.
I can see him.
Yeah, we can see him.
Oh, I got to unpin my video. Oh, why did I get unpinned? Okay, all right, go ahead.
Chaos to confusion.
Yeah.
So hi guys, my name's Lane. I am introducing myself because I am a tutor in the STEM Center. And so the other point of my interrupting your class is to remind you about the STEM Center. Hopefully you know about it. If you don't, you guys have access to free faculty tutoring, a resource that I don't know any other college to offer. And as computer science students, you guys have access to more tutoring than anybody else. So listen to these hours. You can come into the STEM Center, and of course, while we're working remotely, that means just clicking a button and you're there. You have access to tutoring Sunday through Thursday, 12 noon to 12 midnight. So like the whole day. You get to sleep in, and then you get to get tutoring all day. That's Sunday to Thursday. Friday, it's 12 noon to 8 p.m. And Saturday, it's 12 noon to 4. So hopefully that fits with your schedule. If you ever need help, if you're frustrated, if you're stuck, if you just want to talk about an algorithm, converse, we are there. And like I said, I don't know any other college that offers faculty tutoring like this. So yeah, I'm here just to remind you that it's there. Also to encourage you to use it maybe in a way that you haven't before, which is to say very casually. You don't have to come in with a specific question and feel like you're troubling us. I feel like that's an experience I get a lot, is that people come in, they feel like they're in a real hurry, we're super busy, we don't have time. Not at all. We're trying to make the STEM Center very casual. You can come in, you can just chat. And what I really would like to propose is that we're encouraging groups to get together, and we have group breakout rooms, right? I mean, I guess I should back up. The STEM Center now is a Zoom meeting, and we have a lot of breakout rooms. You come in individually, ask for a tutor, we'll meet you in a private breakout room. But what else we can do is just get you as a group into a group study room. You guys can study together, you can chat, you can just talk shop. And if you want a tutor, we're right there to help you. And we'll drop in, we'll say, hey, how you guys doing? What are we talking about? Offer a little bit of advice if we have any. Or you could always go up to the host. We have hosts in this Zoom room and ask for a tutor. Or you could just work on your own. So what I would really encourage you to do is get a group together. That could be 2 of you, that could be 3 of you, that could be the whole darn class, and decide on a time. And you can use the STEM Center Zoom room as a group study space. Call it a workshop. You can use tutors as much or as little as you would like within that space. But so that's that. 3 things I wanted to tell you. My name's Lane, I'm a faculty tutor. My hours are Tuesday, Thursday, 12 to 8, so I'll be online later today. And there's usually 2 tutors overlapping. So you can always ask the host who's on. And otherwise, yeah, my name's Lane. Don't forget about the STEM Center. We are literally there for you. It's free. We're faculty tutors. And 3, use the space however you want. Get some friends. Come on your own if you want. Study in there. If you need help, we're there to help you work efficiently. And you can just get help as you need it. So nice to meet everybody. Hope to do it a little more personally. Anybody have any questions before I finish my interruption here?
You're not interrupting, so.
Thanks, Ed. All right, silence is golden.
Oh yeah, right. You guys, this is a fantastic opportunity because the only thing we don't have is coffee, and in the physical STEM Center we used to have coffee and snacks for you guys. Right. Yeah, but you can get your own cup of coffee and go into the STEM Zoom rooms. I've been in there. It's really cool because you're working on something, and then if you get stuck, you don't need to go elsewhere and email people and ask for help. They're right there. Lane's right there, and Lane's a C++ guy. Okay, so because you could get stuck with a. Sometimes I've seen this, right? So some people go into the STEM center and working away, and they want a tutor, and they say, I just want a CS tutor, and then you get assigned a random CS tutor, and that guy might be a Python person or a Java person, and they really. So ask for Lane, right? He knows all this, everything that's going on, and so get the right tutor. And you'll just be so totally pleased.
Yeah, that's a good point. I love Ann's classes, like his platform for how you guys submit and check your code. That immediate feedback is so much fun. But I also know it can be frustrating, right? Because you have to get it 100% right or no deal. And so once again, we're there to help you work efficiently. We can get you over those hurdles. We're not going to debug your program, right? We're not there to fix your code, but we'll help you explore and figure out how to do it yourself. And yeah, I mean, we all get stuck, right? We all need to take breaks. We all need to walk around the block. But I've gone through Ann's classes, and they're a ton of fun, and I am familiar with them. And so just totally happy to help, guys.
Yeah, Lane was pretty much indispensable. I mean, the two of us were like, was it CS2C last quarter?
We did a lot of 2C last quarter, that's right.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. We were teaching that, and yeah, very nice.
Sorry, do we access, so we access the STEM Center Zooms on Canvas? I think there's like a tab that says STEM Center.
Yeah, excellent question. I should have mentioned that. Yeah, there's a couple of vectors in your Canvas class. There's probably a student support portal icon on the left-hand toolbar. If you click on that, there should be a tutoring link within there. And so there's maybe a couple clicks, a couple layers you have to get through. We're tracking usage with a STARS system. And so you might have to log on sort of separately. It's not just single log on at the moment, I don't believe. So you might have to enter your CWID and maybe your birth date right now. But at the end of the day, you should just be able to follow that student support portal link and end up in the Zoom room. When you get to the Zoom room, you won't see me. We have hosts that sort of do triage and send students and tutors to different breakout rooms. So just know that when you get there, you're going to talk to a host and you're going to tell them why you're there. Hey, I'm such and such from such and such class. I'd either just like to go to a group study room or I'd like a tutor, and they'll see your info already from having logged in. So that's if you go through Canvas. You can also go through just Foothill's website. If you go to foothill.edu or whatever our website is, or just Google Foothill tutoring. There's a tutoring website and there's a link on there that'll direct you in also. So I'd say two options, just from the Foothill tutoring website or from your Canvas student support portal. And that Canvas can vary a little bit depending on how instructors have set it up, I think. But thanks for the question, yeah. Rock on. All right, well, I'll say goodbye, guys.
But they listen to you. Yeah, I think, thank you so much for coming by.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, great to see you, and look forward to getting to know everybody. Good luck. Yeah, week 5, right? Things are getting serious.
Week 5, I can't believe it, man. We only have like 6 lectures left or something like that. 6 or 7.
That's crazy. Yeah, and we all know it's hard to keep up, but it's even harder to catch up. So so come on in just to keep up, and if you already need to catch up, then come in today. I'll be there later.
All right, everybody, okay? Goodbye, everybody. So type, yeah. So everyone who listened to Lane, type yes. Okay, there's also going to be a roll call today. All right? Yes.
Woohoo! Look at that.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, wow. My pleasure.
Okay. Was this class useful today? Was and everything useful today? Are you guys coming back next week? Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah. I guess that's time, and most of you have to go now for your next class. So it was great. I enjoyed it. Thank you, Nee, especially for volunteering and doing a fantastic demo, right? And I hope that demo is going to be the seed where many people take that and make some modifications and post their own modifications, and that'll be great fun. Okay, especially the people who haven't tried it, coding and are feeling uncomfortable coding. This is a great place because you already have a working program. Right? You have a working program, you're going to take it and break the program. Okay. So no use just taking it and, making changes that for sure are not going to break it. Yeah. Break it. Only then you'll know the different ways in which things break. Break it and then unbreak it. Break it, unbreak it. And that's a great way for you to, get comfortable with coding. Yes. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was great fun. I'm going to look forward to Tuesday again. Unless, of course, you guys want me to come by and give you another class sometime before then, I'm happy to do that. I always have to remind you, right? Nobody's taken me up on the offer yet, but I'm happy to do that. All right. Thank you. I'll see you guys on Tuesday, if not before.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Sandeep, I hope you have all the help you need now. Okay. So there's no excuse for you not to catch up. So
For sure.
make sure that you're on the train and with the rest of us. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Thank
Talk to you
you.
later. Bye.